Well, hello there. Thanks for joining us. This is the Cinema iPod crew. Michael, Travis, Eric. It stinks like shit where Eric is, but that's okay. We're going to get through this because that's what we do. Sometimes things aren't going your way. And then you turn on our show and you're hanging out with your old pals once again. Cinema9pod@gmail.com is how you can connect with us. Today's episode is Eric's choice. And he took us back to 1974. Brian De Palma's Phantom of the Paradise. Travis, did you watch the movie?
I sure did, for the podcast and everything. I'd never seen it before, though.
Neither did I. Can't wait to talk about it. We're going to do that in, about 20 minutes or so, whenever that gets going. Eric, Griffith, Indiana, how are you?
I'm battling a severe chest cough, and I don't know how to get rid of it. It's like, can't breathe, then like murder cough comes, then like it's gone. Then it comes back out of nowhere, like, I don't know what to do.
Like
Back
this
to school
just started.
sickness?
Yeah, is this an illness?
Like a fall thing?
Or did it just start like right before the show? Or,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe you just,
Pod tear?
Pod tear. Could be pod tear. Could just be maybe a
Pod
little
tear
allergy
exists.
kicking up, a little fall allergy or something.
Those of you guys that don't know, pod tear is a real thing, and people are afflicted by it every year. It's terrifying.
Yeah,
Drops.
We got emails, and we got two of them,
What?
so it's very unusual for us to have two in one show. So let's get to it.
Wow.
Yeah, no, they're not spam; they're real. This is from David Horning. We all know David. Those that don't know Dave, he's a pretty cool guy, right? Random musing. Hey, gang! Thanks for the call out. I do love this pod. Oh, that's very nice. Thanks. I love movies, and I love you, my brothers. Are you drunk? Did you write this when he was drunk, or is he just being a genuinely good man? So it's a no-brainer. Thanks, Dave. Wow. I have a lot of time to kill while driving these days, too. I'm almost through all your back catalog of episodes of movies that I've seen. I'm always coming up with things to email, but due to the nature of my listening circumstance, I can't take notes. Maybe one of these days I'll remember something. Big fan of QVP. Keep it up. Love those quarantine viewing picks. Have gleaned a bunch of good viewing suggestions from that portion of the pod. How about that, Travis? Wow.
All right.
That's great news.
More support.
Yeah, that is moral support. I am always thinking of films I'd love you to cover as well. But again, forget what they were as life gets in the way. I seem to remember loving The Fountain. Oh, I never saw that, actually.
Me neither.
Ooh, interesting. Haven't watched it in years. Would love to hear y'all talk about it. Nice work, gents. Dave. Don't try to force a movie suggestion on us. Nice try. Man, it's not happening.
I mean, we made all those suggestions to him, so he's trying to give them back, but you're like, no. Not going to stand for that.
No, we only get to pick every 3 weeks, okay, Dave? So I'm not wasting my pick on your movie. Kiss my ass. We take this shit seriously.
Maybe we'll have a guest again someday. Maybe
we'll have an email again if we don't keep insulting our first emailer in one.
Yep. He's like, I love you. We're like, no, fuck you, Dave. No, we love you, Dave. Or at least I do. Speaking for myself,
I love him
here.
too. I'll join you. I'll join in on that. Care to
Eric?
make it 3, Eric?
I love Dave as well.
There you go. Look at that. A clean sweep. No, I'm just kidding. The Fountain, that's a good choice. Maybe we'll get around to that. It's probably time for us maybe to bring out the old, viewer's choice. That's kind of fun,
Oh, yeah, it's been a while. It'd be a good idea.
And if we get this kind of commitment more often than we used to in the past, we didn't really get that, so we'd play the old school game where selection, we'd remove choices from a selected choice amount from Jimmy's Basement back in the day, for people who don't know Jimmy and the Tachus Basement. But,
It's all
people
fun
want
and
to
games
make
until somebody
suggestions.
picks Blood Diner. Or them twice.
Blood Diner?
Blood Diner worked out.
Okay.
It's funny.
Second email. This guy's back again. Joe emailed us
Hey,
last
Joe.
week. That's 2 weeks in a row. Film tracking. Hi, guys. Just wondering if any of you have in the past or currently use an app service where you track and give your opinions on what you have watched along the lines of Letterboxd. You guys know Letterboxd? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I use Letterboxd. I don't give reviews on it. I just keep track of how many movies I've watched, so I could just watch that number climb to crazy heights and be like, what have I done with my life? That's pretty much what I use it
So
for.
is that what Letterboxd is? Can you tell me if someone doesn't know?
It's it's like Untapped, like the beer thing. It's just like you
I've heard
check
of it.
in. Yeah, you just check in. Like, this is the movie. You can rate them, and you can write your reviews, and you can follow each other and like read each other's clever reviews. But I honestly, all that stuff I don't really get into, because it's just like everyone's just trying to be either like as smarmy as they can be, or I don't know. It's I'm not really reading the shit, but I do like to just keep track of the films I've watched.
It's like Facebook in like 2010-ish when you could check in at the places you were at for the first time. So everybody started doing it all the time. Hey, I just
annoying.
checked in at the Heidelberg. Let's party.
I went to Wendy's.
Yeah. I didn't see that as much. I don't know why. I know Eric was at Wendy's or Burger King or Taco Bell, KFC, Arby's, Jack in the Box. Shit, I ran out of one. Okay.
Del Taco.
Del Taco. That's a good one. A&W.
All right.
To a certain degree, that's what you're doing with your podcast. So I could totally understand if you don't use a film show review and tracking type of service or whatever it would be called. But even if you don't, I was wondering if you had a recommendation since I want to start doing it for what I watch. Cheers, Joe Lowry. Well, I don't do that, so I have no recommendation.
I mean, I use Letterboxd, so I would recommend it.
Back in 2001, I filled a spiral notebook cover to cover with reviews of films that I saw, and then I rated them. Like in this notebook. I
remember that.
I still remember giving Jurassic Park 3 like 3 stars. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. But I was adamant. With every single movie I see. Alan,
wake up.
I lost it, man. That would be really fun to dive back into that thing.
God, that clip it's so fucking funny. It's one of the most unintentional funny moments in the history of film. The raptor, Alan, wake up. I'm your buddy Raptor.
Yep. 3 stars. Raptor on a plane. Waking up Alan Grant.
First class.
Yep.
Have some more champagne, please.
Yep. First class Raptors in a major motion picture.
It's a band, right?
Travis said something really funny on the text thread. I truly laughed out loud. It was so funny. I just want to read it verbatim because it really made me laugh. Because somebody posted a picture of Mitch Albom. You said 7 cokeheads you meet in a bathroom at Chili's.
I mean, maybe you had to be there on the text thread, but yeah, we were talking Mitch Albom.
Eric posted a picture with
talk.
a Mitch Albom picture with Coke on his nose in the text thread, and then that was Travis's response. 7 cokeheads you meet in a bathroom at Chili's. Really funny to me. So. Travis, you got anything else funny to share with us for quarantine viewing picks?
I don't know. Did I watch any comedies? Not really. Let's see. What did I watch? Revisited The Dark Half again. I just keep returning to the same well, trying to find more than what's there. It's not bad. It's good to just kind of throw on and have a night, at night. Eric, you had mentioned that Zemeckis' films had just all gone downhill in the last decade or so. And I looked back, I'm like, what's the last Robert Zemeckis movie I actually watched? And it was Flight, which I thought was fantastic. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, maybe I disagree with Eric. It's happened before on this show, even when it comes to film. Sure. So I thought I'd check in on some of his stuff. So far, I've only gotten to Allied from 2016 with Brad Pitt and that woman, the French woman whose name I always forget. Marie Cotillard?
Marion Cotillard.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So this starts off, it's weird. It's almost like a sequel to Casablanca, but it's not. It's very much a spiritual sequel, which you're already like, and it's like spies in World War II, and you're like, this is all pretty well-tread territory. But it wasn't bad. I mean, it was well-directed, well-acted. It was written by the same screenwriter that did, I know he did Eastern Promises and some other good stuff. It was certainly worth checking out. It was not a trash film by any stretch of the imagination. I Am Groot season 2 came out, so I enjoyed the 20 minutes or whatever that is. So thanks for another 20 minutes of entertainment once a year on that. And then I watched, I don't really have a major one to recommend this week because the last one I watched, I announced like on Facebook many years ago that I'm gonna watch every Gene Wilder movie, and I've plugged away at that over a long time and still not quite seen all of them. But this was one of the last ones to get under my belt. The World's Greatest Lover from 1977, which he also wrote and directed. This weird, the word madcap kept springing to mind. It's like this weird parody of the 1920s and Rudolph Valentino and Gene Wilder. So I read a bunch of his stuff, like his memoirs and that kind of stuff, which is partly why I'm a big fan. And he is always funny, but he's always also really sexual. You don't really think of that necessarily when you think of him, but he's very in a weirdly erotic comedy kind of guy. It's always been a big part of what he writes and what he does. I mean, it's like sometimes it's more overt than others, and this is one of those occasions where he really gets to get into that. So if you want to see 1970s Gene Wilder just completely here, have a camera and a budget and get your friends to come on board, it was certainly worth seeing if you like Gene Wilder, but it's not the best of his filmography.
Erotic Nights with Gene Wilder.
Exactly. Jerry Sibley is not the man you think you're going to get down in bed with.
What about you, old man time?
Dude, more hoarders, some real messy houses. Some real messy houses.
I bet.
Yeah, a couple seasons of that. I've been watching Siskel and Ebert nonstop. All the old episodes are on YouTube.
Yes!
It's hilarious, man.
That was funny shit, yeah.
Oh, it's laugh out loud funny. Like they're ripping Ghostbusters 2, like just destroying it. I'm like, whoa, guys, like they are just tearing it apart. And they did like a whole show on why horror movies like all suck. Like they both don't like any horror movies, so they just ripped on them for like a whole episode. Like their points were ridiculous. They're like, why are these movies? Like, why would you want to be scared in a movie? It's like, fellas.
I don't like it, so it must be bad.
I gotta see
it
that
was
one.
hilarious. There was some great stuff. And then I started watching some old episodes of Tom Snyder, The Late Late Show. Remember this fucking guy? Remember this face?
Yeah.
This face.
He was
I was
on
laughing.
One of the Is It Safe episode show covers like a month or so, 6 weeks ago.
It's hilarious, man. Like, I was laughing my ass off at like 1 a.m. He's got Quentin Tarantino on. Tarantino's talking about like Jackie Brown. He's like obviously like high out of his mind on coke. And like people used to call in, like random people just call in and like talk to these major celebrities and take up all this airtime. And this woman comes on and she's like, "Hi, Tom. Just wanted to let you know that family is really important. Family is everything." And he's like, "Got a question for Mr. Tarantino?" She's like, "Not really, but I do have terminal cancer, and I wanted to spend my last remaining years thanking you for your great program." It's fucking awkward as hell.
Holy shit.
So they're sitting there like, what are we supposed to say to this woman? And finally they're like, good luck, happy holidays. And then he has Leonard Nimoy on. He's got the legendary Leonard Nimoy, Mr. Spock, on himself. And I never seen this guy pissed, but fucking Tom Snyder, he's like, "What was your first movie, may I ask?" And Leonard Nimoy's like, "Zombies of the Stratosphere." And Tom Snyder starts laughing his ass off at this title, like as one would, like the early 50s, this bonkers movie. It's like, got to be a joke. Leonard Nimoy gets fucking pissed live on the air. And he's like, "Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? I was an honest actor making a living trying to support my family." And like, it's all awkward and the set's fucking quiet and no one knows what to do. It's fucking hilarious. It's on YouTube. You got to see it. Yeah, other than that,
Wow.
that's pretty much it, man. I haven't gotten around to a couple of these movies. I watched about half of that Little Mermaid remake. It's fucking terrible. Perfect voices underwater. No, not even like any like weird like warbling. Just perfect voices in water.
Really?
It's fucking
That's your
so
complaint?
Dumb.
Yeah.
That's your complaint about the
among
movie.
many, but that's the thing that
Reality.
stood out the most.
Want reality in my Little
I
Mermaid.
shouldn't be able to see shit. They're underwater. It should be nothing but murk. It should just be 2 hours
That's
of
true.
haze.
That's true. That crab was talking.
Oh, thanks, Eric. That's fun stuff. For me, I told you I couldn't share much last week because I want to bring him to the table. So I went and watched Straight Outta Compton. You know, it's been 8 years since it came out. Wikipedia the movie, as I called it, or a Wikipedia telling of NWA and all the people in it. And
Yeah, I like that movie.
I enjoyed it because maybe I stepped away from it. I didn't hate it when it came out. I just didn't think it was like, I wanted to love it more than anything. I just thought it was kind of formulaic, typical. So
Yeah, had no edge.
no, it still is. Even though they do some, there's endless guns and violence and cops beating on black people and like a bunch of awful shit's happening in this movie. But you're right, it still doesn't have that much of an edge. That's pretty wild I'm comprehending that in real time right now. That's a good point. Still entertaining though. And by the way, the guy who played Eazy-E in that movie, everybody was predicting in 2015 that he was going to be like a mega star coming off of that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen a ton of him. I don't know his name off the top of my head, so I'm the asshole. But that may have been incorrect. Anything else I can share? I've been doing this weird thing too. Man, I'm weird. I'm particular. That's all.
Killer.
So I'll put a movie on at night to go to bed to. but I'll have it on repeat. So it'll just start over again because I got it on my laptop. And I'll put the TV on sleep. I like to put it at 180 minutes. I like to really let it drag out. It's going to turn off, but it's going to be 3 hours. And so I've done 3 different movies this week where I did that. And I woke up 2 different times like, and I heard like, I was awoken by Jude Law, like going ape shit in one point. And then another time it was,
The fuck?
I put on 42 because Travis had watched it. And that was the other night. And I heard Harrison Ford's like, hey, listen, hey. It scared the shit out of me when I woke up all of a sudden out of the blue. So it's strange. It's a true story, but it's weird.
Rough Ford pulling you out of slumber. That would be alarming.
Hey, he was incredible in that movie. He really was.
Compelling you to turn towards Christ, as he does throughout that film.
That's right. It better be a Methodist, damn it. That's right. Yeah, I can't share anything else. Yep. Yep. No, that's it. Can't do it. Okay. All right. So with that was Quarantine Movie Picks. You guys got something you want to suggest or something we missed or you want us to hear about? CinemaNiPod@gmail.com. Of course, 5-star review, subscribe to the YouTube, blah, blah, blah. You know how that shit works. If you like the show, support it in the ways you can, where it costs you no money. Okay?
Yeah, email us with a suggestion so we can shoot it down on the show.
That's correct. But we'll tell you we love you, though. We will tell you that.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
I'll have that.
All right, well, it's time. Eric's pick from 1974, 50 fucking years ago.
Jesus.
The Phantom
Wow.
of the Paradise, directed by the legendary Brian De Palma. Is this the first De Palma movie we're doing?
Oh.
It's gotta be.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it is.
Shit.
I don't
Never would have guessed.
Yeah, right?
Well, this would be the one.
Yeah. So Brian De Palma, 1974, and starring a fascinating human being, Paul Williams, a legendary songwriter. Paul Williams is in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. Yeah. He's a short little guy who's got a unique voice. It's different. It's not squeaky. It's I don't know. My dad described it as squeaky. I'm like, no, it's not squeaky, Dad. It's
It's not squeaky.
Reedy, maybe?
A bit reedy.
maybe that's what it is.
A bit reedy. We haven't talked about him since we did Rules of Attraction.
That's right.
Wait, did we do Rules of Attraction on the show?
Absolutely.
Sure did.
Who picked it?
Absolutely. I think I did. I fucking loved it.
Yeah, you did, I believe.
Yep. I was blown away.
Yep.
Holy shit. Okay.
Remember in
wow.
your life. That's
I love that movie, so I
Yeah.
would really like to remember that. And yes, Paul Williams has a very funny turn in a cameo as a doctor when they take Jay Baruchel into the hospital for a OD, bullshit OD. So, anyways, Eric, you picked this movie. Tell us why.
Yeah, I think it was 2014. I went over to my friend's house. He's started the film collective I'm in. His name's Kevin. He's an older guy, and he's like, we're talking to Palma, and he's like, what do you think about Phantom? I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I had no clue what he was talking about. I thought for sure he was making this up. Then he's like, let's put it in. What are you doing? I'm like, I'm not doing shit. We sat there and watched it, and it's just so difficult to say. Like, you never forget it. Like, some things you just never forget the first time you saw, at least for me. And like, I don't know, it's kind of like the first time I watched an adult movie. Like, I'm not sure what I was looking at, but I know that I enjoyed it.
By the
and then
way,
we ended up having a movie night, and we're like, dude, Kevin, let's Phantom of the Paradise. Let's show these people. And like, we showed it to them, and they were all like, you know how sometimes you watch a movie with people, you really want other people to see, like you spend the entire movie watching for their reactions. Like, and I just looked over him, and he was looking at everybody. I was looking at everybody. They all fucking hated it, and me and Kevin were like, what the fuck? You guys crazy? Well, it's just been one of these movies that like, for like 2 weeks after I watch it, it just haunts me and resonates with me, and I just cannot stop thinking about it. So my goal is to just get everyone I know to see this. So that's why I decided to bring it on the show.
That's what I tried to do with Search and Destroy for like 30 years.
yeah, we're back to back fresh takes on these movies, at least from one of us.
We're going to make
And
you guys
and
watch
Travis
the movies that we want you to see.
Sure.
Make people watch this shit. Travis, you never saw the movie, right?
No, I'd heard of it. It has more so in recent years. I don't remember hearing about it like growing up or anything, but in the last 5-10 years, it's become one that I hear cinephiles discuss, you know, especially De Palma fans, including Eric Brandstrom.
I'm sure Luke, friend of the show, Luke is going to be pissed. I'm sure he loves De Palma, so I'm sure he's seen this movie. He's going to have something to say about it. I actually have not seen it either, and the only way I even heard of it was when I watched that De Palma documentary on Showtime like a year or two ago.
Amazing.
And it was like it was brief. It was like a flash in the pan because they cover his whole career. And by the way, The Rules of Attraction episode was episode 43. That's why I can't remember it. And that took place on January 30th, 2021. Well over 2 years ago. That's why I can't remember it.
It's been a minute.
Holy
But I feel
shit.
honored to have that I remember something that you forgot, my elephant friend.
You nailed it, my friend. Round of applause for credit. Absolutely. Credit where credit's due.
Old Weedhead comes through every now and then.
Hey, oh, Weedhead. How about the IMDb score? Is this a celebrated classic that deserves 8.0 status?
Yeah, I know the score. So
Oh, okay.
all right.
Let me see. What do you think, Travis?
Well, probably most of the people that have seen it at this point are like diehard fans and like love it, and their friends and family that were bemused. So I'm gonna say little shy of 7. I'll say good old 6.9.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Eric and Kevin showed it to those people. They hated it, so it can't be that beloved. Not everyone likes it, but certain people are diehards. Like you said, I'm going to say this. It's De Palma. It's the 70s. I'd say 7.3.
Mike nailed it. It is 7.3.
All right.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
7.3.
Okay. Oh, I'm happy about that. It's not a big deal. It's just nice to, who cares? It's
applause.
Celebrate the
21,000
little
ratings.
victories. We care. We care. Celebrate.
It's the little things. 21,000 ratings, though. That's pretty low. That's a small number. So, obviously, it is in the top 4,998th in popularity. Congratulations, Phantom of Paradise.
Cool.
Rotten Tomatoes wise, there's these people on there, and they're
Yep.
called critics. But you could also be a
They're in
fan.
trouble. Rotten Tomatoes is in hot water. You guys following the story?
No, I haven't
no,
seen
tell
it. I
me.
heard about it. What's
They're
going on?
accepting bribes for positive reviews.
Is that official? Like it's been evidenced?
Lock this in. I want you to look this up. Yeah. I can't remember the name of the movie. It's like this very small movie, but yeah, they're accepting some shit to put positive reviews up from celebrated critics.
Holy
Like in
shit!
a
that's-
weird way. Like
Well, if we
it
can't
turns out
trust
the
Rotten-
people never even saw it or something weird.
Yeah. If we can't trust Rotten Tomatoes, our institutions are broken.
That's a fact. This is on vulture.com. The decomposition of Rotten Tomatoes. And there's a picture of a bunch of decomposing, rotting tomatoes. The most overrated metric in movies is erratic, reductive, and easily hacked, and yet has Hollywood in its grip. So, yeah, check that
True.
out.
I mean, yeah, we use that in IMDb on a regular basis.
Yeah.
In the same way that I use Amazon. Like, this is not good. Sure is convenient
Oh.
though.
But we don't give a shit about, at least I don't really care what the Rotten Tomato score are. I really just use it because it collects a bunch of critical reviews. That's what I care about.
We go for it. For
And
the critics.
oddly enough, I respect the IMDb rating more than whatever the score is on Rotten Tomatoes, and I don't know why that is. I just always felt that way. So.
Have you ever been excited about a movie and then you heard the Rotten Tomatoes score and you were like, I'm out. I'm just gonna wait.
Maybe not Rotten Tomatoes. I know I've done it with IMDb, or just reviews in general. Now that I'm thinking about it, I guess. I mean, I guess it's just another place to get reviews.
It's possible. I think it's possibly happened. I can't think of an example right now, but maybe there was one of the later recent Marvel movies. I was like, oh, people are shitting on it, or I don't know. It's definitely happened, though. I can't lie about it. It's 81% from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes, 84% from the audience, so that's higher than the 7.3 on IMDb. As far as the critical review, we got some reviews on this one. And how about Andrew Saris of The Village Voice? De Palma has mixed too many of his styles in Phantom of the Paradise, but this is still a movie to be seen and heard.
Okay.
Okay. What about the legend? She's legendary, right? Pauline Kael.
Oh yeah, numero uno.
So Pauline Kael from the New Yorker once upon a time said this: De Palma, who can't tell a plain story. Wow, that's a high praise. Does something that a couple of generations of student and underground filmmakers have been trying to do and nobody else has ever brought off. He creates a new guignol, Guignol.
Yeah, I kept seeing this word when I poked around, like Grand Guignol. I don't know what the fuck they were talking about. I didn't bother.
Spell
to
it
look
again.
Guignol.
New on me. Luke.
Yeah, hey, Luke Milk. He creates a new guignol in a modern idiom. So there you go, whatever that means.
I think it's kind of similar to like a giallo, which is it's basically like a new genre, a new way of storytelling, a new type. Like Giallo is like horrific noir, so it's got to be something like that.
Oh, okay. So marionette, person comique de ridicule. Well, this is all in French. Jesus Christ! That's right.
Mike,
What, lovely accent.
It's
you have,
puppet.
too.
It's yeah. Thank you. It means puppet. Marionette. Yeah, it means puppet.
sure. Oh,
That's what it's
Thanks.
telling
Yeah,
me here.
I knew that.
puppet. Oh,
I did not know
you
that.
did?
You know, how about a local? Long time ago, Christine Brown. She doesn't even have a picture, but she worked at the Detroit Free Press, and she said, for the most part, this one is a delight. From Williams' sophisticated musical parodies to the shadowy, hazy cinematography to the culmination of horror rock's false violence.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Eric, here's your boy, Gene Siskel. Long time ago. Gene,
Weighing in.
what's
Pissed.
up on the screen is childish. Uh-oh. It has meaning only because it points to something else. To put it another way, joking about the rock music scene is treacherous because the rock music scene itself is a joke.
Salty.
That's good.
Wow.
Yeah, that's funny. Good job, Gene. Rest in peace, old man. Let's see. There's
Gene
none of
turned
our
down Siskel.
none of our usuals for this one because it's older, I suppose. But
We got a 5-year-old Desson Thompson reporting from his Montessori school.
that'd be great. We finished with Richard Schickel from Time Magazine. A crazy, savage film, iconoclastic and truly liberating.
Okay.
So, I've never seen any version of the Phantom of the Opera. Am I missing something if I've never seen it on stage or in the original old school movie versions? Fill me in here.
I think I'm with you, Mike. I never have either.
Oh my God, that's
I don't like
that's
Andrew
weird.
Lloyd Webber. I've seen, what is it, Karloff? I've seen clips of that. I never watched the whole thing. Never really appealed to me.
You've
I
never
didn't
read
know
familiar
the
enough
Paul
with
Theroux novel?
No, I've never read the novel. I'm familiar enough with the story. Someone's pissed. He hides in a theater. He does stuff. He's
I'm
ugly.
not even familiar with it. All I ever saw, the only thing I know about Phantom of the Opera was when we were kids and those commercials would come on in like
The
1992.
Phantom of the Opera.
Prestigious,
Live.
Pantages
Yes!
Theater.
Ah, you took it right out.
222.
That's right.
222.
The prestigious Pantages Theater. Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom.
Over and over again with that commercial.
Over and over
That
again.
commercial, they were
Pantages
hitting us
Theater.
hard. Yep.
Well, if that's all you know about it, you're missing out. I fucking love. I saw it twice. Once on Broadway, right there in New York City. Once in beautiful Chicago, Illinois. I love the Family Up. 1925 Phantom. Universal Lon Chaney is one of my all-time favorites. I fucking love this story. But I mean, it's just not all Phantom here. I mean, come on now.
Oh, there's like 5 stories here, right?
Oh yeah,
It's
it's
like
also
10
Oh God, You
homages.
Devil.
Faust!
Yeah, Faust.
Oh,
No,
God,
no,
You Devil.
it's there's 2 devils, no Faust, but both the devils were Faust that turned into the devil. Okay, it's complicated.
Wow. My mind is, there's what, Frankenstein in this? I mean, it's just like loaded with all these
Everything.
old timey stories. But my only reason for asking that, Eric, is if I've never seen Phantom of the Opera, am I missing something for this movie particular?
It's not a direct adaptation.
No, I know it's
mean-
not. But what am I missing? Am I missing something if I didn't see it? I know it's not a
No.
direct adaptation. So
No, Phantom gets pissed that somebody else is singing his music, and he doesn't appreciate the singer that the company chose. So he gets pissed and starts killing off, crew on the stage. Not innocent victims like fucking Winslow does, but like
Jesus.
people that are on the board and like really pulling strings and manipulating and are assholes. But yeah, I mean, go back and watch them. They're all the adaptations are great. Even the Robert Englund adaptation is fantastic.
okay, that's fine. I mean, this movie's filled with people that most people won't know. So this is not like a star-studded movie at all. I mean, Paul Williams plays Swan. And by the way, there was like a whole legal thing with
Swan.
Led Zeppelin because there was like a Swan Records that they had or something. There's a lot of lawsuits and a lot of bullshit related to this film apparently that was ancillary to it. But William Finley as Winslow Leach is. I don't. Where else would I have seen William Finley? Because man, he was really good in this movie. I got to give him credit for that.
I have no idea. I've got no idea.
No, oh shit. Okay, I thought like, oh hey, I've been missing out on William Finley, but apparently he died in 2012. By the way, he's gone. But this movie starts so deliberate, man. It's classic De Palma. These camera shots and the slow opening of like, you get the intro about this guy who's brought all the music to the world. And it's so cynical. Like, this movie is cynical as fuck about music and pop music in particular.
I like a lot of the music. I think that's the highlight of the film is Williams' work. When Winslow Leach first is introduced, he's like putting... I fucking hate Grease. Oh my god, that opening band. It's just all that all those Grease vibes.
Oh
but
my
he's
god.
Like, I hated that shit. But
I
when he's
did
like
too.
he's like putting the fucking sign, his sign over that the other band's shit. Like, oh, this guy seems like a real asshole. Then he comes out and he starts playing. And I'm like, oh, he looks like the goofiest motherfucker I've ever seen in my life, but he sounds pretty good. I like this song. It's okay.
Yeah.
And yeah. But yeah, fuck
worst
Grease.
worst lip syncing in any movie ever. They were like, all right, William, we know we're gonna have a good song. Don't know what it is yet. So just like sing tenderly and we'll hope that it matches up.
Wow, I was far away from the TV, so I didn't really notice that, I guess. So.
I guess I wasn't paying close enough attention either, I guess.
But you know what's interesting about the film is it opens like talking about this nostalgia wave. So we're watching a movie 50 years later, not in the time that it's released. I was trying to like put myself into a time that I didn't exist in either. I wasn't born yet in the 70s. And so I thought, oh, okay, I see this Juicy Fruits band, which I hate. Is this like,
come on.
Was there like Happy Days was a huge show in the 70s? So like 50s nostalgia was big in the 70s? Is that what I'm supposed to take from it?
Well, it was, wasn't it?
That's what I'm
In the
asking.
early 80s?
Yeah.
Well,
So that's correct then.
the craziest thing about this, one of many, is the fact that they shot this in like 72 or very, very early 73, and it was delayed because of those lawsuits. So it's even more unique in the respect that it's one of the first rock operas, but it's also one of the first people to even address any type of nostalgic craze, because with the Juicy, that's like 62, all that stuff was only like maybe 10 years before they made this, and Happy Days didn't come out to the late 70s, so no one was doing any type of nostalgic stuff. And Grease was 78, and I love Grease, so I dug the Juicy Fruits. Their song is dumb, like if you're not a fan of that stuff, but like it's
Why is he doing
directly
that
telling
accent
you,
in the song? What the fuck?
well, the song is literally about an artist that like dies for their music, and it's like little stuff like that in the songs and the motifs that I love throughout the entire film. I don't know.
Okay, this movie also features one of the worst. It's just the worst jailbreak of all time. It's so stupid. Like they're laughing with us. Like, hey, go ahead and laugh at this jailbreak because that's not the point of the movie. We don't give a fuck.
It is Charlie Chaplin shit. I mean, it is just fucking like bozo. Like, we're not even going to try and pretend like this is remotely realistic.
Which
is a lot of the film, anyways.
Literally sing. You're getting out of there by falling down to like a fucking toy mine shaft. And all of a sudden you're just out.
So he has to get disfigured. I mean, like, so he gets crushed by the way, the record press thing, I guess he really almost did get totally fucked on that, according to the trivia on IMDb.
Oh, wow.
He survived. Yeah. They had it set up, and then like these things that were supposed to protect him got crunched, and that's the real take. He's genuinely terrified when he's screaming coming out of that record press.
Oh my God.
I know.
I almost killed him.
I didn't know that when I watched it, reading it after the fact. I was like, oh my good God in heaven.
Get away from that record press. Fucking cops.
So he's got to get his teeth ripped out. He's got to get his whole body fucked up. And he becomes this Frankenstein, right? He becomes this part man, part machine thing that immediately doesn't want to kill the Swan after what Swan did to him. And also, we saw the rage that he showed to Philbin, his partner, when he first met him and wanted to take his music from him. I mean, this guy, he would have killed Swan right away. That just kind of bothered me a little bit.
He's saving his fury for the fucking lighting guy to kill later.
When
Swan,
he just
I'll
does
let
the
you
same
live.
job as the lighting guy does. He's like, dude, I was going to put the spotlight on her. But I don't know. Like I think he knew that Swan was this legendary producer, so at least Swan was going to make the music happen in sub capacity, whereas him and his state probably wouldn't be able to get it to fruition at all.
Yeah, and he'd murdered Swan's band, his house band, and some random women. So
Random bimbos at the beach bums.
how dare they be? What's that?
I like that the movie showed a fucking assembly line of fucking women who are trying to actually sing, but you go in there, you're just going to get fucked, literally. I'm like, that's not far off at all. That took guts, I think, in this time period, so I want to give it more credit for that.
There's a few things like that. I mean, you have some LGBT stuff going on in the film too, which I think that they handled pretty well. I mean, for the time period, we have not talked about Beef yet, but Beef is someone who is clearly like appealing to both men and women, but doesn't really seem to make any bones. Even on stage, he's like blowing kisses at boys and stuff. He comes to a bad end, and could have been. You know, he was warned.
He was warned.
He was warned.
He sure could ham it up. He sure could chicken dance. All right.
He tried to leave.
Telling me
You
you
heard
didn't hear that shriek.
Yeah, that's Garrett Graham, who I recognize from other things as a much more like tough guy kind of guy. It was pretty wild to see him in this role.
Yeah, a lot of Star Trek.
He did a great
Beef was
job, by the
something.
way. Yeah.
Well, like that's the thing. Like, I mean, when it comes to the humor in this movie, it's like another thing that De Palma sat there and he's like, it's definitely not just going to be. I mean, it's so many things, but even when it comes to the comedy, I'm going to have slapstick. I'm going to have like drawl stuff, like the transaction clause and the will. It's just like this dry humor. But he's got all the different types of humor that I think are interesting.
Yeah, he plops that contract on the table. It's like 100,000 pages. And that's funny. It is.
Well,
But it's not directed at you directly. It is just like happening.
I mean, especially if they did film this in 1972, which I think they did. I mean, this is literally right when glam rock was a thing. It's like it's so on the button because this is exactly when like T-Rex and Ziggy Stardust were just at their height. So for him to even address this stuff in a movie for 20th Century Fox is a huge deal.
I agree.
So
Okay, great show, everybody. Thanks for coming.
We did it. We did this one early.
Yay! God, so this... Did anyone take certain things in this movie seriously, I guess? Like, were you able to get serious in certain parts of this film, or was it just... I guess it's more directed for Travis because he hadn't seen it like I had.
I don't know, man. Wackadoo the movie. It's it's hard to, like, it's just it starts off bizarre and goes out of its way to get more and more bizarre as the film plods on.
Yep.
Do I take things seriously? I mean, you have a protagonist and you're sympathetic to him, sort of, pretty much. He's got, it's a, David and Goliath thing. And it's like, okay, where's this, I'm rooting for him. Then he starts wantonly murdering people, left and right with like little qualm. And so I guess I took some of those murders kind of seriously. I was like, especially the juicy fruits in those girls. I was like, dude, this dude just bombed these people because reasons, I guess. So that was the only part I think I took seriously. And it was like, yeah, there is some good satire, but like you pointed out. And I took some of the music pretty seriously. I didn't necessarily like these prolonged scenes with just Phoenix wandering around a stage, gazing up at whatever the fuck.
Guess what came out? The old fast forward on that scene. I admit it freely.
You don't say. There's two of those. There's two of those.
I did the first one when she auditions for the first time for the two of them when they want to do the sonata over again. I was like, okay, yep, she's gonna keep singing. She's good at it. That's fine. But that was the only fast forward. But that took a lot of guts for me too. Yeah, I mean, it's a slow, deliberate film in a way, like you said, a lot of drawn out scenes that I didn't like the juicy fruits, like you said, but at the same time, it is really got some incredible shots in like there's like images that I would just love to screenshot and like have as a poster in my house, especially like some of those shots with Finley when he's become the robotic half man half robot thing or whatever he is. There's that one shot of him like zooming in with the eye. His eye is huge, by the way. He's got giant eyes. Yeah. And it's through the eye hole of that mask, and it's just a great shot. There's a lot of beautiful camera work that a guy like Brian De Palma not only can do, but he will really go out of his way to try to make happen. And there's a lot of stuff that I was more impressed by the technical aspects of the photography than I was in other films. It's really well done from that respect, without a doubt.
We got incredible production design by the legendary Jack Fisk, who was like David Lynch's right-hand man, Mulholland Drive, Racerhead. Like when Swan's sitting like in like this whatever the fuck he's in, it's just this giant Death Records record, and he's like right in the middle of it, and he's like auditioning, or he's not even auditioning people, he's just like fantasizing about what could work or what couldn't work, and we have these practical people coming in that he's like, no, it's not right, and then Beef comes in, like stuff like that is like sticks with me, and like my favorite shots by far are at the end when the assassin's getting ready to kill Phoenix, and the Phantom is just like running to try to catch up to the assassin, and the camera is just like racing behind him, and the Phantom's like, there's this weird digital voice, and his fucking cape is flowing, and I'm like, this is 1974, and we got like this fucking weird ass, dark, Burton-esque, like creepy ass gothic Batman like character, and no one's seen this. Like that's one of the many reasons I've like, why aren't more people just talking about how like fucking bizarre and unique this is? So.
And you got split screen, classic De Palma split screen in this movie, of course. You got to have it in every movie. Yeah.
Classic De Palma.
That's his thing. For all the technical marvels that I was impressed by with this movie, when it comes to the dialogue of this movie, it's really shitty, I think. I mean, the dialogue is just terrible in this film. It really is. It's like they didn't even care about that part as much. It was all about the costumes and all the physical. I mean, the songs are well written. The songs are written much better than the dialogue is.
I'm inclined to agree with you. I thought most of the dialogue felt pretty wooden, pretty not great.
Yeah, I love the music. I fucking love these songs. But De Palma wanted this to originally be a play, and this is in fact he one of his really good friends he screened this for him before they released it, and this friend was really tight with Andrew Lloyd Webber, so he told Andrew Lloyd Webber to watch it, and he's like, you should this should be your next project. You should team up with Brian De Palma to make this. And Andrew Lloyd Webber said, I like this, but like I'm just gonna do the Phantom of the Opera as a rock opera. So he like completely stole the basic conceit of this film. But yeah, I mean, the dialogue is kind of like a hokey. It's kind of like a hokey play. So if he wrote it thinking it was going to be a play, then maybe that's why it's kind of goofy. But Brian De Palma can be very, very goofy.
Yeah, but also Brian De Palma would have been stealing from other folks as well if we're talking about the conceit of the film.
Countless, yeah.
Right.
Fucking Poe and everybody else.
Right. So do we all interpret the ending the same way? Which is, I mean, like, what is it, the death logo in flames after the crowd is dancing in blood, right? I mean, he starts that fire, he kills everyone in the theater, right? He burns the place down, kills everyone. I mean, it's literally death in flames as everyone's dancing. They're not aware that the building's on fire.
I mean, that would be cool.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been awesome. Especially if they would have showed people continuing to dance as they were on fire, because throughout this climax, like, they really don't care about people fucking dying all around them. They're so immersed in the music.
Right, and I think that's all what's heavily implied. I mean, it's literally the death logo with flames zoomed into after the people like lost in dancing and not caring about death going on around them and stuff. So he kills them all. That's how I took it. That's why. But I'm wondering if you guys got the same.
I hadn't exactly thought about it, but that makes all the sense in the world to me. It does.
I think my interpretation, after thinking about this for many years, is, I mean, the story is trying to tell you about, regardless of how good a record turns out or what you think about an artist, behind the scenes, like, the musician was probably a fucking dickhead. The producer was probably a fucking asshole, but we don't care as the audience as long as the music is good, and that's kind of what the audience is doing at the end of this film. They're just immersed in it, even though fucking people are dying and they're murderers. And Swan himself, Brian De Palma wanted to name him Spectre. I mean, he's directly inspired by fucking Phil Spector, and this was before the murder.
Yep. Well, he was already off. He was already all fucked up and pulling guns on people at this point, and Paul Williams. The way he looks sometimes, I was already thinking Spectre before I read that little blurb about it after the fact. There's definitely a lot of taken from real life music in America, in the United States, the pop music world, and how it works. And I mean, De Palma's got, I guess he does have love for it in a strange way, but he has a lot of contempt.
Music.
Yeah, the music, right?
Yeah,
but
it's like an indictment.
The people who run it and who make things happen, everybody is a scumbag of the highest order, and how you get the music probably was at the sacrifice of many, many people. And De Palma is not afraid to make that very clear in this film. And I love that part of the movie. I think, rock and music and where it was in the early 70s. I mean, it was exploding with a bunch of huge bands that were going to be even more famous than ever after the fact. And it's so true to me. I mean, I've never been on the road. I've never been behind the scenes of a concert, I guess, for like one of my favorite bands. But it seems pretty clear to me. Egos galore, Scumbag City.
The satire that I most appreciated was the whole we're told in the beginning that this band Swan throughout the 20th century was the one that like brought jazz to Liverpool, etc. So this is the guy orchestrating everything, and then it's shown throughout the film that it's done all through thievery. Like, well, that's accurate. That's good.
Yeah.
That's what you said it better than that was what I was trying to say. If these people are exploiting people, it's classic. That's where it all started. We all know the history of the blues and what is called rock and roll after the fact.
Spirituals, all that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Stolen.
On the other hand, something that I found, it's just tired, but maybe it wasn't tired by 1974, but I think it probably was, which is the whole Faustian bargain thing. Like, I mean, even especially when he's like walking up to like Swan's house and it's like, here's a song about the devil. We're literally gonna meet the devil and listen to a song about meeting the devil when we meet the devil. It's like, okay, yeah, I've been here before in film and elsewhere.
Well, 50 years, you gotta give it a little bit of credit, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, but Faust is a pretty old story.
It is. You're right. I agree with you. I felt similar to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I've praised the film, but like I've seen this a few times, and every time I do watch it, it's after Winslow stabs himself, and I'm like, oh yeah, that totally works. I love it. I feel his pain. And then when he tries to kill Swan, Swan's like, oh, I'm under contract too. It's like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about the Faustian bargain. It does kind of seem like they're really Frankenstein, like just a patchwork. It's like, you're going to do Oscar Wilde. You're going to do Shelley. Like, it's a bit much. I mean, I'm totally cool with just making this a modern Phantom of the Opera. But when they start scaffolding everything on top of each other, it gets, I mean, it's entertaining to me and I'm never bored. I'm just kind of like, okay, come on. Do we really need to see? I do think it's cool that like his soul literally exists on videotapes and he burns up all the tapes and then like Swan becomes the monster and stuff. That's cool. But maybe since it's not introduced sooner, it's like, okay, what else you got? You're just like throwing darts at a Cliff Notes 100 best of. And
something we haven't touched on, but you kind of did there that I also got to praise the film for being 50 years old, is its emphasis on the voyeuristic nature of Swan and his obsession with surveillance. And all of the video cameras throughout that. At that one point, that incredibly grinding on forever long scene where it's just like the Phantom is watching Phoenix and Swan through the window. It's like, we're still in the same scene? How long is this? It's only an hour and a half movie. How long are we going to spend here? But then you see that there's another camera behind him that Swan is going to watch him watching them later. That kind of that works and that's cool, but also that it also, I think, kind of blends with your point too, that there's a lot layered here where it starts to get a little thick, lots of coats of paint.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. Yeah, I love that he's watching after the fact of stuff that he was aware of or was a part of. And I think it kind of reminds me a bit of, Howard Hughes had died around this time, and he was famous for, he wanted to have everybody constantly being watched. So maybe they pulled some of that, the rich eccentric guy who that's to me, when you talk about Faust, it's something that I think of, but at the time, 72, 73, 74, it was much more fresh. And now with the world we live in today, I think it's a point that people could be connected to that might draw them into the film a bit more, I would say.
Yeah. And they even allude to, as if they didn't have enough homages, Citizen Kane quite a bit. I mean, in the beginning, they talk about how Swan's trying to build Xanadu. Yeah. But when Swan, the whole reason he assassinates Phoenix is because he's like, I want to make her a star so my club gets popular. But the first night it's popular and I know that I'm success, I'm going to take her out because my pride is not going to let me have someone be more popular than me.
Oh, and remember what he says about
the hubris of him speaks
perfect.
Volumes.
Remember the point of, I can't let her be the lead because I hate to see perfection in others.
Absolutely. And that reminds me of my favorite scene in the entire movie when he's changing Winslow's voice to literally be his voice.
Yes.
And he literally says perfect. And it's fucking Paul Williams' voice. I mean, just the irony of that and the meta-ness is hilarious.
Hell yeah.
Egotistical prick. And of course, we don't have Daft Punk if we don't have Phantom of the Paradise.
That's the story. They love
really?
this movie, and that's how they got to be who they are. Yeah, there's
Didn't know that.
a couple blurbs on the trivia about how much they love this movie. It's like their all-time favorite, and they all came in their pants when they saw it. So, or excuse me,
Daft
in their
Punk.
robot costumes or whatever.
You're
They
right. Guillermo del Toro was trying to adapt this with Nick Cage as Winslow. It fell apart.
Wow.
Wild.
How about you're in the 70s when you're watching a movie where they blank out the F word, but then like a breath later have a racial epithet?
Yep.
The 70s.
That's history. Things were different in history, and we hopefully can be
different.
more
It's
progressive
different.
going forward. I would really hope for that to be the case.
Yeah, I'm just pointing that out.
No, you're right. Absolutely right.
Also important to note that this is fucking PG. We've got a megalomaniacal madman possessed by a demon who's feeding methamphetamines to women who have been enslaved in the music industry via the casting couch. PG.
This movie clearly inspired Rocky Horror, right?
It's fucking amazing that this is 2 years before Rocky Horror and no one knows about this film. And then who's Tommy before all of these?
Yeah, to somebody who's not, I'm not like, I mean, there are people who are obsessed with Rocky Horror. It's like their life. They want to do it every night. They want to perform it every night. And to me, this movie is just as good, at least, or as important as that film. I just find that to be interesting now that I've seen it.
Tommy, I like Rocky Horror, but it got a little dull for me. But I also love and have seen 3 times Alice Cooper. Believe it or not. And it's
Remember
just
that list the secretary has? Isn't Alice Cooper one of the names? Do not enter. Or,
He is, yeah. Who like Chris Christopherson and Dick Clark also banned.
Bette
Security
Midler!
needs to come immediately if they show up.
Anything else, guys? It's about that time again.
Not really.
Well, you're the one who chose it. Then you got to start first, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those movies that I just think you got to check out, especially when it comes to De Palma, because you would never think in a million years this is Brian De Palma. It's just so fucking weird, and unlike a lot of the stuff that he, aside from some of the like Hitchcockian visual tricks, like thematically, he never really did anything like this again. And I was trying to dig up any like long form interviews with him about this. Like, did he disown it? Like, is he embarrassed about it? No, he thinks he loves it. He still thinks it's really good and thinks it was underappreciated. Only did well in fucking Winnipeg, Canada. Only did well in Winnipeg, Canada and Paris, I believe. But it fucking flopped. But he still appreciates which I think is cool. But I mean, you can't really like if we were back at Blockbuster, Travis, and this came in but it had no category on it. Like, where would you put it?
Musicals?
Yeah, maybe musicals. But I mean, it's comedy, it's horror, it's suspense, it's thriller. It just, for me, it does so much, and it's so colorful and interesting and cool and unique that it definitely holds up for me as just something that's still interesting after 50 fucking years. Like the stuff they're doing with the Phantom, that fucking costume I keep going back to, it's just so cool looking. So yeah, man, I celebrate the film, but I'm a sucker for glam rock and rock operas, so it might just be me. But I love it still.
Mike, you or me?
I'll go.
Go for it.
I really like what this movie does, what it stands for. It's, I love a satire. I don't like musicals that much. I really don't. But honestly, I don't think of this movie as a musical, even though there's a lot of music in it. I really didn't. It's a technicality. Who gives a shit? I guess it doesn't matter. Winslow Leach is a real character. He's bizarre and puts me on edge, makes me feel weird. And other times I'm just baffled and confused by what people are doing in this film, what their motives are. It almost seems like it's not important. It's a really bizarre film. It really is. This thing's off the wall. And it's very unique, even though it's going through tired material. A lot of tired material that children are familiar with.
Yeah.
So I think in the end, it's entertaining, and it holds up. I think it's something people should see. I don't know if I'm ever going to watch it again, though. That's the thing.
Okay. It's a mixed bag of a review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely glad that you brought it to the table as someone who thinks of himself as something of a cinephile. This has been on my radar for a while. I've been meaning to check it off. And it's certainly, I appreciate the historical significance of this film. You, Eric, did a really good job of pointing that out throughout the way that this is a predecessor to a lot of important films and widely respected films and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not watching this in 1974. Brian De Palma also, I know, is someone who's highly respected. And I think he's done some really great movies like Blowout and Mission Impossible.
Sure.
I also think that he's kind of overrated. I mean, Scarface, I've never been a huge fan of. Snake Eyes, Casualties of War.
Scarface.
These are not, these are not great films. Black Dahlia, just not great.
Mission to Mars.
Mission to Mars, like egregious.
Carlito's Way.
That one's great. That one I like.
Carrie.
And Carrie I also like. But and there's a lot of stuff in between, right? You look at his filmography and it's like, oh, he's done a fucking ton that some of them I've never heard of. So maybe there's a bunch waiting for me that I haven't seen. But he's someone that is widely respected as a director that I find kind of, okay, he's capable. I fucking hated this movie. I'm sorry. I hated this movie almost from the get-go, almost from jump.
Man.
I found it grueling. I liked the music. I liked some of the imagery. I liked some of the shots. I found it tedious to watch, and I won't be watching it again. It doesn't hold up for me.
Yes. Hell yeah. Love that. Thank you, Travis. Appreciate that.
Sorry,
think
Eric.
you guys-
I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but I mean it's just
Tough
the
times
no for me,
coming,
dog.
It's a no for me, dog. All right. Well, Travis spoke his truth, and I always want the truth here, and
that's
that's
all we
why
want.
I said that Phantom of the Paradise held up, because I thought it was truthful in a lot of ways. So I appreciate that. Why is Beijing China always trying to call me? I'm sick of that.
Why you're podcasting? Don't answer.
I don't. I'm not answering that ever. No, they just.
What do
keep
you mean
calling.
ever? You answered it on the air with me on your last.
That's
If it
true.
wasn't on Cinema 9, then it
Oh,
was
that's
on
the only time I ever
when I was
answered
on
it.
Is
Yeah,
It Safe?
that's the only time it ever happened. They've called me like 40 times since. That's funny.
That's because you
Life is
answered that one
quirky.
time.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Anyways, cinemanipod@gmail.com. Eric, Travis, me. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You can watch us on YouTube. I'm going to pick my movie.
All right.
Come on. I know it.
Well, I'd be clicking.
Don't worry.
I'd be turning the show off if I was listening. Before you.
Wait, there's a movie pick. Okay, so last time I chose To Die For. This time, after the movie we just saw in 1974, Phantom of the Paradise, we got to go in a different direction, and we shall. And, God, there's so many I want to do, and I look around, and I feel like we haven't done any movies yet from one of my personal favorite directors. I love Steven Soderbergh. He's probably my top 5.
We did Out of
It'd
Sight.
be close.
Yeah, we did that.
Oh, we did do Out of Sight. Okay.
One of our first.
That's right. It's so long ago that I can't even remember it. That's why. I love Out of Sight.
Yeah.
So I thought we'd bring it back to the table again. Then we'll do the second Soderbergh film. Now we're going to go way up now. We're going up to 2013. No, we're not doing Traffic. We all know how I fucked that up. We're going to do one of the last films I recall seeing Catherine Zeta-Jones in a starring role. It's 2013's Side Effects with Jude Law, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and Mara Rooney.
Rooney Mara.
Rooney Mara, that's right.
My dog was
Mara
named after her.
Rooney.
I'll never forget that name.
I know. Yeah, I realized as I said. Actually, I didn't realize I said it wrong until you just corrected me. So,
I'm trying
thank
to
you.
think if I've ever seen this movie. I guess I'll find out. All right.
Yeah,
Side
Side
Effects.
Effects, 2013. Check it out. Give it a look.
Is this the one where you saw Jude Law screaming in the middle of the night? Because I do believe
No,
it is.
no, but seeing Jude Law in a different movie did remind me of this, and I I honestly thought we hadn't done a Soderbergh. I forgot we did Out of Sight, but I wanted to do another Soderbergh, so we'll
Side
do
effects.
Cool.
Channing Tatum too. If you like Channing Tatum, it'll be fun.
I do like Channing Tatum.
Yay! Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for
Eric.
watching.
You got 2 out of 3, man. What? Be
I
happy.
should be happy.
Thanks, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Travis, Eric, Mike, we're out of here.